Is Yetzarta. In Pirkei was last Shabbos was Yetzarta, you are called. It is this order.
Yetzarta?
No, Yetzarta created, and after this was born.
Okay. In this ois, we're on page 376, we're in the middle of the page. In ois Vav, the Rebbe begins to speak about how when Mashiach comes, the body, Eir HaSovev, will be revealed. And therefore, the body won't require capsules of godly energy in Semeach and Chai. We spoke about this last week, just to share an idea. Sovev Kolalmin, the infinite light of Hashem, has to be concealed in order for us to absorb it. It's hidden. Sovev Kolalmin, the energy of Sovev is Behelem. When we say, the whole world is godliness, yeah, the whole world is godliness, but it's concealed godliness. Sovev Kol Almin's presence in this world is concealed. So to us, our existence is less of a concealment to us than Chai. When we observe an animal, we see it as having less divine energy than we do. We're a medaber. In us, there's a greater manifestation of a likus than there is in the animal. Because that's the way we feel. The way in our experience, we are capable, with our intelligence, of absorbing a likus. But what can the animal absorb? So therefore, in the animal, Sovev Kol Almin could be concealed in the animal in a greater degree than in us.
But in reality, it's the opposite. We feel we can feel
right, but Sovev. The godliness that we experience is Mamale Kol Almin.
Also in the experience.
Right? Could I try to draw you in a little bit? Could we do this? Page 376. So, right, you're with me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Even our body conceals godliness to us, but we contend with it. It's part of our experience. When we look at the body of an animal, it's even more distant from godliness than we are. Even to introduce God to our Yetzer Hara, to our Nefesh HaBahamis, is a challenge. How are we going to introduce God to an animal? Right? The point I'm making is that Mamale Kol Almin is godliness as godliness is revealed to us. Sovev Kol Almin can't be revealed, so it conceals itself. What does it mean to conceal itself? In an animal, it's a greater concealment than in us. So there's more Sovev in the Chai than in the Medaber. This also answers our question about last week. I'm sorry. In other words, for me, I prepared a little bit, so I'm already a little in the zone. We had a question last week that what does it mean? The higher something is, the more it falls. In Sovev, there is no higher and lower. Remember that question? There are no levels in Sovev. What does it mean that there's a deeper degree of Sovev in Chai than in Medaber? And there's a deeper degree in Doimen than in Sovev. What do you mean? It's all Sovev. Sovev is all Shave Umashve. But possibly the answer is that in a Doimen there's more concealment. So therefore, it's a better hiding place. Mm-hmm. Right? If I want to hide a car, where am I going to hide a car?
Under the ground.
I need a big space.
Right.
If I want to hide something tiny, To hide a small energy, I could hide it in a goof. But to hide a greater energy, where am I going to... I need a better hiding place. The daimon is a greater hiding place than the tzemeach. Because there's less life there, there's less revelation. The animal, relative to us, a chai is a better hiding place. Are you with me? Are we on the same page? Are we understanding each other? I don't know, what do I want from you, right? Now, before we meet inside...
Jackson Mason says, excuse me, sir, did you pass away? I'm talking to you.
I'm talking to you. Shem Havaya, over the time that we've learned about Shem Havaya, we learned three ways that Shem Havaya presents. You with me?
Yeah.
This is good. This is categorization. Number one, Havaya means, Havaya is from the Loshen Nehava.
Oh, hey.
The one who breathes into existence.
Reinforcement, huh? Reinforcement.
Yeah.
That's one,
You knew he was going to pick on
right? That's one presentation of Havaya. The second presentation of Havaya is past, present, and future all combined. Hoya, hoive, v'yiyeh.
Wait, say the first again, because I was distracted.
Mihaveh.
Oh,
Creator. Hoya, hoive, v'yiyeh, past, present, and future. Then there's a third presentation of Havaya. You ready? The third, we learned this. The third presentation is all the names that we find, Hakel, Agodel, Agiber, Hanoira, all the different names that we have, they have a meaning, they have a translation. Kael means mighty, almighty. Elikim, right, is mighty, the plural. The names of Hashem, Rachum, V'chanon, compassionate, they all have meanings other than Hashem. They're an attribution. I don't know if that's a real word. Whatever, we're attributing, right? The name Yud-Kei Vav-Kei has no other meaning. It's the only word that's dedicated. What is it? Hashem. You remember such an idea? You remember? You remember hearing such a concept? So three ways that Shem Havaya presents: Nehave, Hoya Hoya V'yiyeh Ke'echad, and uniquely a title for Hashem without any other meaning. When we learned about in Lech Lecha V'Eira about that Shem Havaya in Atzilus, the oir in the Kalim is Shem Havaya, because pure godliness, that's Shem Havaya. What do you mean pure godliness? Because Havaya has no other meaning. It means Hashem. So here the Rebbe is going to discuss these three presentations of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, referring to three different levels. Mehaveh, creator, that's Mamalik Olam, it's Hashem already as creator of the world. Adoin Olam, king of the world. Hoya Hoya V'yiyeh, that's Yichud Eilah, that's beyond time and space, higher than time and space, higher than Milo Mata. And then Yud-Kei Vav-Kei as purely Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, that's even Ata, that's higher than. Okay?
So there's no relative, like in the other times you're relating, even though it's higher than, but you're relating it to time, place, you're relating it to...
Right, we're saying...
Here, Hashem, so there's no relation, it's just Hashem, like you said, but
it's not the way we project on Hashem.
Right, but how do you identify? So if you can't identify it, then how does it get represented?
So that's the distinction, that's the difference between Golus and Geula. In other words, what happens, what's the chidush of Geula? Revelation of Hashem. Not Hashem in the context of what we know in our experience. Right? So let's read a little bit inside. So what we read last time is that the word es, like Umala ha'aretz deya, es Hashem. Yiru es Hashem. That's bittul b'metzias. When a person is completely bottled to the Eibishter. That's the inyan of Seviv Kalamin. When Mashiach comes, the world will be completely bottled to Hashem.
The S is the separation. The world and the
It means
Hashem.
kafel, secondary.
I understand, but that's what I'm saying. There's a division between it's secondary, meaning this is one, and then there's.
In other words, when you say Yiru Me Hashem, it means I have a capacity of Moira.
Correct.
And my Moira is Moira from Hashem. Yiru Es Hashem means I have really no capacity. Hashem is the only true existence. We become bottled. We became overwhelmed. The example that I gave last week, you have someone, you meet a smart guy, you give an opinion. Then you meet someone, you realize that you have nothing to say, you're speechless. That's Yiru Es Hashem. You're speechless, you're second, you have nothing to say. Let's take a look. Let's start from the fourth line from the top. This is all going in this direction that when Mashiach comes, the body won't need a filter. When Mashiach will come, Hashem Echad, Ushmai Echad. Shmai Echad. This is going to be the big chiddush of what the Rebbe is going to say here. Va'inyan does it.
Shmai is referring to Hashem, Adai.
Shma, you'll see.
Because one second, we said that the Shmai has to be something not representative of the Shmai, which is related to anything other than itself.
Right, usually a name is what other people could absorb. Shmai Echad means even
the Adai
even the projection is still Echad. It's not watered down. That too is pure. Even what's revealed is also pure. Let's see. It is known. There are two levels of Havaya. Kamesha Kosu. Vayikra Hashem Hashem. So it says Hashem Hashem twice. Havaya de la'ela, Havaya de la'sata. Havaya de la'sata, hu miloshin mahava, creator. Havaya de la'ela, hu miloshin hoya, hoive, v'yiyah, ke'echad. The achshav nowadays in Zman HaGolus, psik taima begavayu, there's a psik between, separating them. However, when Mashiach comes, the Indian ba'avoida, what does that mean in our attitude towards Hashem? When a person is in a position where they serve Hashem, bitla ilmus, the whole world is. The world represents no obstacle to Elikus. It says in that position. Who in Yichudei Law? Yeah, there's only the Eibishter, that's it. Nishtok in Welt. There is a Welt. Kabbalah so. Even though a person who has Kabbalah's oil, in the background there's an understanding as Nishtok in Welt, what fortifies the basic oneness of Hashem, but still, it's not the same. I'm living in a Gashmiistic world and conducting business and eating and sleeping and I have Kabbalah. There'll be one. Until the third level, that has no translation other than this is God's name. That's the beard of the Pardes. It will all be unified. It will all be one message. Because of them the pasuk adds Gam Ushmai Echad. What does that mean? The Indian does that. Maimer, as Chazal tell us, Gemara says, nowadays Nichtav, God's name is written yud and a hey. But it's nikra, it's read aleph daled, adnai. Aval ha'olam haba kula yachad. Nikra b'yud kei, v'nichtav b'yud kei. It will be written the way it's read, the way it's written. Ta'bir b'ktzara, who briefly, what does this mean? What does it symbolize? Shebe'elam hazeh, nowadays, there's a difference between the kri and the ksiv. Shezeu k'meishu b'teira. In Teira, it's Yudke. Sham meir agili d'b'chines avaya. But v'nikra, when it's read, when it's projected into the world, it's Aleph Daled. What is Aleph Daled? Who is God? The Bashefer, the creator of the world. Shezeu k'meishu nikra v'nizgala ba'elam shesham loy meir shem avaya kim b'chines adnai ad odoin al kol b'yosecha. When Mashiach comes, nikra k'meishu nichta shekam ba'elam yegili b'chines shem avaya. Zeo, that's the meaning of Shmoi Echad. Shmoi hu inyan nikra. That's revelation. Shehu agili ba'elam. Hini la'asid yiyeh gam u'shmoi echad. Shegam agili ba'elam. The revelation of the world will, all into the world will be yiyeh echad. Kamei avaya echad. Sheyor ba'elam gam b'chines avaya de la'elam. Shehu inyan gilu era sevev kalam. I'm just going to read a little, then we'll talk about it. The Kevod shall asid love ye'era sever kalam begili being that sever will be revealed. Lezeis lo yitztachu lachil u'shir. We won't require food or drink. Lefi. We're giving hope. We're giving hope. We're getting closer. Fisha guf shekvar yeh mezuchach lagami will be refined. And therefore, yekabel chayusim chinas hasever kalam and sheyor begili sheloi aydem tzos levushi amaychol. Without an intermediary, because the guf is shorsha mibchina sevu kalamin. Ella, very interesting the way he says it here. Hanefesh tasbir lahaguf es hagili shemeir beimitzad shorsha. The nefesh will explain to the body what it is experiencing. So I just want to give a little oisius. I don't want to lose anyone and go too much on a tangent, but just right. What is he saying? In Chassidus explains that all logic, all Havana v'asaga is only in the periphery. It's never in the core. It's never in the essence. It's always, in other words, let me say it in a simple way. Whenever you understand something, it has to be defined. As soon as you define it, it's not it. That's just the way it is. Right? In other words, you're putting concrete limitations on a spiritual, any spiritual existence. Like we're going to talk about malachim. Whatever you're going to tell me, it's just not a malach.
Right.
Right? So all when it comes to ruchnius, I'm not talking now about how long the brain is when you lay it out, when you stretch it, how long the intestines are. It's not about physical matter. It's about all concepts or spirituality, because the way of understanding works is that you must have definitions.
Because the fact that spirituality is not defined, therefore when you
That's
define it,
right.
you lose
So
your whole
what does that
definition.
mean? That essentially, in a deep way, all of our learning is all missing the point. It's all in the
theoretical, but
right.
you're never
It's
gonna.
it's never in the mahus. It's always beating around the bush. When Mashiach comes, we'll see things.
Right.
Vision
It's a believer,
is
right?
the essence. When the idea of to see, I don't need to understand what I see. I see it. Right? In other words, we see the pyramids. Now go figure out how they made it. Okay, we're going to speculate. We see a world. How did it get here? We're going to have theories galore. Okay. But you see. So you can't deny what you see. When Mashiach comes, Elikus, You'll see a likus. What are you going to see? You're going to see the essence, not the properties.
It's almost like this guy explains that the Rebbe said about science, that the science of today and the science of 100 years and whatever. Because no matter how much you're going to wrap your head around something, until it comes to the next point that you never experience.
Right. It's all a theory.
It's theory. It's this
Right.
equals this, but you're never hitting the core. You're never seeing the existence of what you're talking about. Or
Now,
what you're dealing with.
the goof will be what sees. The nefesh is going to be the narrator. Oh, you're looking at.
To me, almost the other way around. Now.
Right, the nefesh is the goof is what sees. So, because the goof will see, we won't require.
It's going to have that narrative that.
Because
that
the
narrator-
nefesh.
No, but why will it be necessary for the nefesh to have that? What it says is
That the nefesh, because the nefesh partnered in fulfilling mitzvahs, so it will have this chus to also nash a little bit. Because it's very
it's
clear.
almost like it makes more like to say that now the guf is going to allow the nefesh to narrate because the other way around. Until then, the nefesh was narrating. You understand? So now the guf.
Will be exchanged. Now, like we put
Yeah, the
tefillah,
guf is like, listen, all those years I was fulfilling.
Tefillah,
I let you get to where you needed to go during Golus. Now, don't leave me in the dark.
Yeah, so now let's take a look. He's going to answer the chelik part. Why a quarter? So, Kol Yisrael yesh lam chelik le'olam haba. Eilam haba refers to Eilam HaTchiyah, resurrection, which is the schar of neshamas begufim davka. Vehu inyan gilui eira sever kolamin. She'ikare, the main manifestation of it is behaguf sheshar shemibchenes hasever. V'lachein, being that it's about Eilam haba and it's guf centered. Kol Yisrael yesh lam chelik le'olam haba. He explains. Began Eden, the gilui is the neshamas b'lei gufim. That's the schar for limud HaTorah. And being that it's a schar for limud HaTorah, yesh b'zeh kama v'kama chilukim. Different people have different levels of understanding in Torah. In a general way, b'chlolos gan eden atachim, gan eden elyon. V'lei kulam shayachim lazeh. Ma she'enken agilui de'elam haba elam hatchiyah, ikar yeh ba'guf. And that's the schar for kiyum ha-mitzvahs gashmiyim al yidei aguf. So being that gan eden is a reward for mitzvahs. Everyone, K'mayim Razal, that Afilu Peishi Yisrael Malay Mitzvahs Karim. Lachain Yegilu Eirasei Kolam Be'el Mabah B'Gufas Kol Yisrael. Every Yid will merit Ella. Lihiyois, being that Kiyum HaMitzvahs was also with the neshama. Shehi HaPayelas Ba'Guf Sheikayim HaMitzvahs. Lachain Tovei Gam HaNeshama Al Schara. The neshama too will be rewarded. Shekislabish ba'aguf, bichdei lekabel schar polosa leihanois, that it will enjoy in its way gilui oir. The neshama still is in the space of spirituality and logic. So a gilui of the seviv sheyor ba'aguf, which is the schar al kiyum ha'mitzvahs ha'idei aguf davka. Yesh lo hish zipazeh. He explained earlier. Bepidush kulam b'chachma asisa. Asisa means you made. You made it using Chochmah. Not that Chochmah made it, or that it was made in Chochmah. But you, Ato Asisa, you made it b'Chochmah. Sh'asisa Ata Davke Hainu Aratzon Ha'elyon. V'lo Chochmah, not Ratzon. Shehu ha'eses ha'ishavus ha'yesh ha'gashmi. Elo, where does the diversity come from? It's in Chochmah that you get all this multicolored world. So what
was this saying? The shirish of Seviv.
What Hashem created, Chochmah brought about the variation. But
the source.
But right, the creator is Ratzon. So he says, Ikir Bazeh. Also, what Ratzon is mitzvahs, Chochmah is Torah. So Ratzon is the creator. Zel inyim b'chochma koyal limud ha'Torah. V'asisa koyal kiyum ha'mitzvos. Elias shafilu peish Yisrael meleim mitzvos kedima. Therefore, gamla mishlech lo mabba. Masha kol so koy Yisrael yisham chelek lo mabba. Chelek daika. Chelek hu roiva. Chelek means a quarter. Inyan bazeh. What is this about? Hine gam b'shem havayid le'ela. Shva'amit is b'chinas ha'seviv kol almin. Even in the highest level of havayid, there are daladesis. V'chein ugam seder ha'hamshocha, the paradigm that it's nimshach b'teira. There are 4 madregas. Kamesha Kasuv. Ozra'ah, he saw. Vayesapra, and he retold. Heichina, he prepared it. V'gam chokra, he investigated it. 4 steps of revelation. V'chein hu gam b'seder yeridas haneshama. Yeshvadalat b'chinas. I mean, obviously, we could talk about those 4 inyanim, the way they represent in our intelligence. Things that we see, things that we investigate, have to investigate it, I'm not sure about it. Right? Things that we retell, vayesapra, and then heichina, things that we organize, like the Rambam. Right? So, b'china gabe seidi yidis haneshama, there are dalad b'chinas, ta'ira v'rasi yitzat hanefachta. What part of Hashem's name connects to the body? The 4th quarter. Roiva. Hey achroino. In what level are all Yidden equal? That Kol Yisrael Shovin, Eitzel Kulam, there's Gili B'chinas HaSeviv Kalam and Mizat Kiyam HaMitzvahs B'gashmi Sa'idei HaGuf. That's only in the Roiva, in the lowest quarter. Hurak B'china Revius, Shekeneged Eisei Achreina Sheyechas HaGuf. Ma Shenkin B'shara B'chinas Sheb'neshama Shalamayla Me'eslapshus B'guf. Shem Keneged Shara is in the higher levels of the Neshama. There will be Chilukei Dargas Gam Lo'asid Love. Look what he says. Al Derech Masha Kosov. Right? Like it says, Kulam Yedu Eisi, Limi Kotnam Vad Gedolam. Oh, so there are distinctions. There's a Kotn, there's a Godel. Kulam Yedu Eisi B'Shaveh. Koma came, even then, there'll be Chilukei Dargas Mikotnam Vad Gedolam.
That's a chachma like Torah.
In levels of the neshama. Mitzad mitzvahs, everyone's equal. Mitzad the Torah, Pisa Yuvim will understand Inyan Kishur and Neshama Beguf. How is it that the neshama and the guf are one, working together?
And in that aspect, it's saying that even in the chachma, you're limited to where you can achieve. Is that basically of what it's talking about, tzaddik and a beinoni? Or after you achieve whatever you achieve, that's where you're limited. Meaning, or you're limited in your ability to achieve it.
Both.
It takes me back to that. It takes me back to that story, right? That the Alter Rebbe once during Shemoneh Esrei, he was laughing. So the chassidim asked him later. I saw this in different ways. I just saw it recently also. So they asked, after davening, they asked him what happened. So he said that there was a chavrusa, one became a chassid. For many years they learned together, whatever it was. Then one became a chassid. He went on, Anyway, the chassid had passed away already. And today, now, the Misnagid passed away. And when the Misnagid passed away, they were bringing him, as they were bringing him to Gan Eden, he passed by Gehenna. And the chassid was there. I'm not saying it right exactly, whatever. As they were the chassid passed away later. As they were bringing the chassid to Gehenna, they passed by Gan Eden. The Misnagid was there. The Misnagid said, "You see, I'm in Gan Eden." The chassid said, you're such a misnagid. Another 20 years in Gan Eden, you still won't know there's an Eibishter. So he says, that's why he started laughing. Then the Alter Rebbe explained, what does it mean that on the way to Gan Eden you pass Gehenna.
On the way to Gehenna, you pass Gan Eden.
Yeah, what do you mean? How could it be? Gehenna should be lower. He says, imagine a person, their whole life they did Torah, mitzvahs, everything, but without any, just by rote, because that's the way that's the way they were raised. So what, they don't go to Gan Eden, but they go to like a low level Gan Eden. When a person has more awareness of Hashem, he could go to Gehenna, he did things wrong, but it's a higher level. So, in our Avodas Hashem, there's depth. We talk about people that lived at a certain level of awareness, and that's where there are chilukim in the neshama, in the yud and in the hey, and in the higher levels of the neshama. Remember we learned that Maimer, where the Alter Rebbe talks about how most of the takonos started in Bayis Sheni. I think it's in Bamidbar somewhere. Where is it? In Pinchas? I don't remember exactly where it is. Anyway, we have to learn. You know what I'm talking about? Alter Rebbe writes that in the first Beis Hamikdash, they didn't even daven. And most of it all happened later because the Yeridas Hadoros, we needed more to elevate ourselves, whatever. So one of the things that Alter Rebbe writes there, he says that nowadays no one understands anything and no one feels anything. Our whole Kiyum HaMitzvahs is just...
Amos Halacha.
Agam Shalocha, then?
Yeah, he says from the Bezamidas they moved only to Halacha.
No, yeah, but that's some... I don't know, maybe it's in Purim, Ashrim Mishabolakam, with Talmud V'yod. Anyway, so those are the higher levels, right? Learning Torah at a higher level. Let's take a look. Ches, Pisa Yuvan. If we finish a little early, we finish a little early. You get rewarded for coming through the series. Al Pisa Yuvan Inyan Kishur Anashama Beguf. Shem Kusharim Yachad, Upelim Pula Achas. It's so fantastic that a guf works as a team with a neshama. It's insane. So the neshama understands that what is the guf? It's a packaging. It's a helen of seviv. That's my only way of connecting to seviv. Just like it is by Eres V'Kelim, the Sheirish HaKelim Hu L'mayla Misheirish HaEres. Right? We understand why. Yeah, because is a ha'ara. Is already a downgrade. Can never be, in other words, what do you see in the mirror? A reflection. How much of the person is actually in the mirror? Zero. How much of the moed is in Nothing. Is just a reflection. Mashenkin Kalim have a chelek of the Eibishter. Elo sheba Kalim atzmon hasheder shalem ubehelam. Aval ha'oir shenyoni yugilui. He understands, he appreciates the Sheirish. That even though you don't see Elikus. I always go back to that mashal because it's just such a fantastic mashal about Folakam when he got to hear from Rabbi Yoel in the mail. Right? So Folakam was in prison on the Arctic Circle. Yoel was a very little kid when he was taken. So every week his mother would write letters with the milestones. Right? Oh, he's crawling, he's walking, he's this, so cute. He said this word and that word. And then one week, it was the week of his upshurnish, she took a little snip and she put it in the envelope and she sent it.
No, we had something real.
So he said when he got that, he fell apart. Even though, Be'emes,
it's nothing.
the update that you got, that was right? But if you yeah, that's the keli. And what does it say? It doesn't say anything. Yeah, but that's a chelik. It's the oir When you see the father holding the strand of hair and you're crying, so now you know what it means. Now you recognize the significance. So the oil reveals the significance of the kelim. ולכן רצה להזכשר בהכלי, כדי שעל ידי זה יקבל גם הוא משרש הכלים. וכשם שבארץ וכלים נסגלה שרש הכלים על ידי ארץ דווקא, just like with ארץ and kelim. The oil reveals the source of the kelim. כאילו גם בעניין נשמה וגוף. שהנשמה תסביר, and will be tegala ba'aguf as gili eraseh v'kalam and shusheresh aguf dafka, and that's the schar of the guf dafka. V'ayidei zeh shaneshama tasbir zeis ma'aguf. Tov gam haneshama al schara, the neshama too will be rewarded. Shegam hita kabel me'aguf as gili eraseh v'kalam, and it will experience through the body seved. Aval ikar agili yeh ba'aguf dafka. So that's the meaning of venigloh Kevod Hashem v'ro kol basar dafka. He asked in the beginning of the Maimer, it should have said v'ro af, even the flesh will see. No, not even. The flesh will see. Dafka the flesh. V'she'ika gili er aseh v'kalam min is dafka beguf mimenu tekabel gam hanasham. So I just want to say that when I was in 770, it was right after Gimel Tammuz, and Shabbos morning, myself and a couple of friends had a routine that we would learn a Maimer of the Rebbe Rashab, Shabbos morning, Samach Vov, or whatever it was. Then we would learn a Maimer of the Rebbe, his Kashrus, got to be connected to the Rebbe. And then we would learn a Maimer of the Friedrich Rebbe, something chuvadik, something warm, and avoida, something juicy. That would be to be inspired, to be moved. And years later, someone sent me a video of Rabbi Yoel Khan making fun of the Bachrim.
That's good.
And he says exactly this. I don't know who told him and I don't know what period he was referring to and who said it and whatever. For us, it was well, I don't know what the right word is. It was generic. It came. No one told us to do it. It was a natural development that occurred. Yeah. And Rabbi Yoel's making fun of these guys off, and as he tells it, he's laughing and laughing. He says this and that, and then they do this. In the Rebbe's, everything is in the Rebbe. That's what in the Rebbe, it's all in the Rebbe. So we don't usually learn a Maimer from the Rebbe. But really, that's all. Really, it's all in the Rebbe's Torah, which reminds me of one last story. I don't want to torture anybody. I know everyone's that there was a chassid when he was in Lubavitcher. There was a tomim that wasn't keeping seder. He was davening. The mashgiach called him over. You're coming late. The next week he came even later, and ultimately he didn't come at all to ונגלה. And the mashgiach never saw him. Anyway, one day he sees him I don't know, maybe it was Shavuos. He sees him, he's like, where are you? He's like, I'm in yeshiva. He's like, really?
I had similar stuff.
Till I finished davening, this and that. Anyway, he went to the Friedrich Rebbe.
He said, let it.
The Friedrich Rebbe called in the Bacher. He said, tell me, daven a whole day, you have to have with what? The Friedrich Rebbe asked him, mitvos daven still. So he said, I daven with the Maimer from Shabbos. What do you mean? This is the Maimer that the Rebbe Rashab says Shabbos, that's what I... He says, really? Tell me, let me hear the Maimer. So he's just right cold. He chazer the Maimer from Shabbos to the Friedrich Rebbe. And that was the last, no one bothered him after that. So, and there are other stories in Lubavitch. Some of the Bachrim, they complained that one of the Mashpiyim, he would learn Chassidus from the Rebbe Maharash. He wasn't with the contemporary. He wasn't Makusher, that's right. So, for us, Baruch Hashem, we had our schools the last 4 weeks. I want to thank you for joining and helping us learn this Maimer. I encourage everyone, this is venigloh Kevod Hashem Tafshin Chavbei's beautiful Maimer, and also to mention that the next Maimer in the Sefer is a Lag Baimer Maimer, which came out Muga from the Rebbe in 1990. In Tafshin Nun, it was a Maimer that came out Muga from the Rebbe. Shkoyach everyone, Atzlach Harab.